583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The Carolina Swap Shop. Buy, sell, trade. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Call 888-331-0269. The Carolina Swap Shop. Weekdays at 10 a.m.
The following program is a paid advertisement and does not necessarily represent the views, opinions, or endorsements of Signal Hill Media Partners, its affiliate stations, or its advertisers.
Say what you want.
Welcome to We're Just Sayin' with Senator Vickie Sawyer and co-host David Coble. Join them each week as they provide the latest updates on legislation affecting North Carolina, from breaking down key bills to answering your live call-in questions. Senator Sawyer and David engage in meaningful conversations on the issues that matter most to our state. No matter your political affiliation, We're Just Sayin' keeps you informed and involved in the efforts to make North Carolina a better place for everyone. Welcome to the conversation.
Happy holidays, everybody. This is Senator Vickie Sawyer here, markedly without David. Now, normally I throw off on David when he misses a show talking about his world travels, Billy, right? Or that he's, not living up to his fullest potential. And I felt so bad for him this week. He was limping. Well, he was limping a little bit last time he was here, right?
Right.
And, of course, we made some cracks about him getting older and possibly falling apart. I didn't realize that was coming true.
Oh, no.
He was scheduled for surgery this week on his knee, and his other knee blew out on him, so he was unable to get either one of them fixed. And I sent his lovely wife a care package because I'm pretty sure he's been cranky. I mean, I can even hear the seething tone through his text about how terrible he feels. So anyways, if you're a praying person, please pray for our friend David Coble. But to my left here is another friend of mine, but he's got like 15 titles. Okay, so one is governor, and we'll talk about that. One is former representative, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Businessman juggernaut. I don't know how you parlay that into. Maybe Esquire. We could say that. A Statesville native, and a dear friend, former Representative John Fraley. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Vickie and Billy. It's very nice to be with you this morning.
Excellent.
Yeah, so John and I met, and before we get into that, look, I do want to say some things. It's been a really rough week, especially in Statesville, right? I mean, just this yesterday, we witnessed, and I think the world saw, the horrific death of Greg Biffle and his family in the city of Statesville Airport. My understanding, the airport is still shut down. The feds are there right now investigating, and it's just a horrible, horrible tragedy of how that ended. And I have a little personal connection. For 16 years, my husband and I were Greg Biffle's neighbors.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Now, I say that because it's not like, I mean, it wasn't like we would crack a beer and go hang out, but we raised our family with his best friend. And so we've been to his house, and just a lovely, lovely guy through and through, and just so sad for him and his family. And I'm very proud of Statesville Airport and how they're handling it in the city of Statesville with national attention. They're doing the best they can.
Yeah.
So.
It really is. It just took everybody by surprise. And that's probably, I was saying yesterday, the biggest, tragedy that the airport's ever experienced. There have been some plane mishaps and things like that, but nothing like yesterday.
Nothing like yesterday.
Nothing like yesterday.
Gosh, it was just horrific. So, not to be overshadowed, though, we did have another passing, and John Fraley may have, I've met this man many times. I'd only seen him a few times, but former Governor Jim Hunt passed yesterday about 2 p.m. or so, and just just the legends of him around that building and how well he worked with the legislature or worked over the legislature. Yeah. I've heard, but he's a master politician, from what I understand. John, did you have any relationship or known?
I've met him a few times while I was in the legislature, and it had to do with the Hunt Education Group. What an amazing politician he was, and a real champion of education in the state of North Carolina and elsewhere. So I would extend my prayers and condolences to his family. His daughter's a current lieutenant governor of a state, and also my condolences and prayers to the Biffle family and friends. It's a very tragic situation.
It is. Yesterday because I like making things about me. Yesterday.
Stop. Just stop.
It comes good. It's like a Christmas heartwarming story.
Okay. Oh, okay, good.
All right, so towards the end of the year, rehabbing all of our network and everything in the office, and IT guy told me to buy just the whole thing, right? We're doing phone systems, we're doing this. So it's not terrible. It's like kind of like a self-imposed thing that was happening to me about, because it never goes right. Right. The best well-laid plans. No matter what, as soon as you turn on that computer for the first time, it's almost invariably it just is not going to work.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. So that's where I was in the middle of all that. And then we had these two things happen, and I went, that computer not turning on the first time and me being frustrated and, going through all that angst and anxiety, that was really shallow of me. Like, then we've got families who are saying goodbye to loved ones and, maybe expected in unexpected ways. And here I am sitting there just, that blood pressure was up. I was stress eating like those cookies that people bring by the office. It was a mess.
When something happens like that, though, to you, do you immediately... Do you explode, or do you take it internally and it's like, we will fix this?
Good question. I never explode because I know that I have staff looking at me. Uh-huh. But that's in my business life, in my political life, and John has witnessed it. Ooh. I explode.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But not like we see on that stuff up in Washington.
No,
is just crazy.
Yeah.
Surely you don't do that.
No, I think in my business life I have some semblance of control over the situation, so I can figure out a way out of the situation that I'm in. It just takes money, Billy. I don't know if you know this as a small business owner. Really, everything can be fixed with money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Politics isn't that way. So, right, John, you are really, and I'm going to brag on John Fraley a little bit. He never explodes, ever. He's always calm.
You can tell your demeanor is just calm, cool.
My wife would tell you that I'm the most impatient person she's ever met. And that's probably true.
Well, it doesn't show. I
guess that's a good thing.
Yeah. John and I were in some contentious back and forth stuff when I first started. And so he had this young, at that time I thought I was young. I was probably old. Ignorant, full of vim and vigor situation that we were in, and we had a lot of folks who were angry, and John was always a steady hand, so I never saw that impatience that Adelaide sees.
It's there, I promise you. It is really there. And when you talk about your IT situations, that one's always at the top of the list.
That's your short fuse?
Oh boy. And
we need to have you back here. We're having an issue with one of ours in the back, so we're on. Of course, he texted IT a while ago, and we're on that plan. You're on the plan. Yeah. Oh, it expired yesterday. Darn. But she's going to give us a grace period since it was just yesterday. Like, well, thanks. But I'm sure that grace period is going to come with a price tag, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
It is frustrating when those kind of things happen. But, after yesterday, seeing what other families are going through, especially around the holidays, it just... kind of put it all into perspective and warmed my heart. So last night I went home and actually did a little work and like decompressed, and I was good. But, you guys could witness me explode right on air today.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Because?
Today is the last day of candidate filing. In fact, it's the last hour. So if there's someone over there right now, well-funded Republican primary candidate at the Board of Elections, and I get the text on air, you'll be able to witness my explosion.
Let's just call her out.
3 weeks is a long time, isn't it, John?
It sure is. No doubt.
Yeah.
But, it's we were watching last night when you circle back to the Greg Biffle tragedy, place we get our Christmas tree in Mooresville, River Ridge Tree Farms. Mm-hmm. They had a video of him coming to get his Christmas tree last week.
Oh.
And he took his limo that he had put cattle horns, bull horns on the front of it, and they tied the Christmas tree on the top of the limo, and then drove it around. Is really a fun time. He had all of his family with him, and the people there were having such a great time.
That's great.
Too. That he's a really special guy.
Yeah,
big loss to the community and state, and everyone.
I agree. Oh, thanks for sharing that area, because he was a staple in South Iredell and had lived there for a long, long time. So I kind of introduced John Fraley earlier with all of his titles and accolades, but I do want to say you are currently sitting on the Board of Governors for the UNC system.
That's where they came. I was like, Governor. I was going back.
Governor.
Let's go back to Sanford and then come on up there. And it was like, no.
But we have to say it like this. Governor.
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 That's right, Governor.
Governor Fraley. Now, if you live east of North Carolina, or in eastern North Carolina, I think each and everybody knows what a Board of Governor is. They watch what these guys do, like almost like it's a football game. Oh, yeah. But in Western North Carolina, I know they know and stuff, but our listening audience may not know why I call John Fraley governor. So, John, can you tell everyone why are you the governor?
Well, the oversight of the UNC system, each individual institution has a board of trustees. Mm-hmm. So there's a board of trustees for UNC Chapel Hill. There's a board of trustees for Appalachian. Same for Western Carolina. And then you have the Board of Governors that sits over everything. And the Board of Governors is essentially the policy and support group for the university system. We don't run the system. We don't run the individual institutions. It's more support, advice, and policy. Mm-hmm. So, for example, one thing that has been a big deal over the last number of years is that the Board of Governors has voted to not increase tuition in any UNC institution. And that has gone on for 9 years. We also set a policy that when you start as a freshman, whatever your tuition is as a freshman remains the same all the way through school, providing you stay consistently and keep up with your grades. Now, next month, we will have another discussion about tuition. We did give the institutions the ability to potentially raise their tuition by 3% this year. But when you take into account with all the things that have changed and a lot of things changing relative to funding, and to have not increased tuition for 9 straight years, it's a big discussion that'll be coming up here in a week or so. So those are the kinds of things we deal with the Board of Governors.
As someone who has a daughter at Eastern Carolina University, I do appreciate the tuition not increasing. So, because she finds other ways to spend the same money that I would spend on that. So.
Well, that goes with being a good college student.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, I'm running a little short.
Oh, I know. My notifications go off on my phone that you don't have very much money in your balance, and I always think it's like something of mine that I missed, and I look and I'm like, oh, it's just Brady's only got $22 in her checking account at this moment.
The daughters always call their father.
Yeah.
And the sons always call their mother.
That's right. Exactly right. I don't know. She might call me something else sometimes. But no, I do appreciate that, because the Board of Governors, there's a lot of things that come your way, and you really do have to look at a statewide perspective when you have those universities who really have a myopic, not all of them, but myopic in thought, right? Because if you are the flagship, which... Okay, Chapel Hill. I don't know that you're really the flagship, but as an alum, we'll get into that later. But when you are those universities, you need to protect your own. You really don't care if you're Chapel Hill, that what UNC Charlotte is doing, to a degree, right? I mean, there's always going to be that back and forth. But through you guys' leadership, I mean, you really seem like you're getting the university system to work on a whole better, and you are that repository of information to go back and forth.
I think that's accurate. Each school is totally different and independent. You also have within that group the North Carolina School of Science and Math, which is actually a high school. You also have North Carolina School of Arts in Winston. So you look at those two institutions. Then you, let's say, take Chapel Hill and NC State, sort of in level of their own. And then you've got UNC Charlotte, Western, East Carolina, and UNC Greensboro, all in there. So it's a varied group of different things to address, and also different student bodies that are there too. And some schools, UNC Greensboro, for example, has a tremendous number of students that are first-time college students.
Really?
In their family. Also a large number of people that accept Pell funds to go to school. So it's things like that you have to be aware of, and but it's really quite an honor to do that. I've done this for 4 years now. I've just been reelected to do another 4 years. But then prior to that, when I was in the legislature, I was involved in education there, chair of ed appropriations and then education policy for higher ed. So I went to all the Board of Governors meetings when I was in the legislature too. So really I'm sort of going on my 7th or 8th year of being involved.
That's why I don't believe
or watching.
That's where I just don't believe you don't have patience, because if you've ever had to sit through an education committee meeting, it's a lot of patience.
Well, there are lots of acronyms and lots of let's say education talk.
What do you do for the schools like East Carolina, where your daughter is attending, and it was known as a party school? Did the governors have any? I mean, I don't know that it still is. I'm sure your daughter is.
She's at home knitting on a Friday night and watching Golden Girls.
Well, now it was UNC Wilmington, because it's even closer to the ocean. I don't know if you.
Well, let's just say the Board of Governors would expect each of the institutions to be run in a reasonable manner.
I understand. Very nice.
Go from there. There's always going to be a little incident here or there. It's sort of like growing up, that your parents are always very interested in who your friends are. As I've gotten older, I've realized that the reason for that was that they know you're going to do something stupid at some point, but if you maybe have some good friends, there might be someone at the last minute that says, maybe we ought to think about this.
Billy said he had no such friends like that. He was a hellion. He's a Western Iredell County hellion. Now, I do want to brag on 2 institutions that don't get a lot of play, but selfishly for things that I think are very important. You mentioned UNC Greensboro. Mm-hmm. They have an amazing program for kids who are growing up with special needs, specifically for autism and those kind of issues that may limit their autonomy from their family going forward. That's a fancy way of saying it teaches these kids to be independent and to go to college with their peers, but yet gives them that added support so that they can live independently like when they graduate. There's a lady who actually works in the mailroom for the General Assembly who's a graduate of the program, and that's why I knew about it. And her father works in the lobbyist community, and he tells me all the time that she would not have the quality of life that she would have that unless this independent program would be there. And it's so amazing. John, I'm not going to put you on the spot whether you've been a part of that or not, but it's just the coolest thing for me because you see these kids who are differently abled and they graduate from, well, they actually sometimes don't graduate from a high school. They get a certificate, which is an equivalent to the Graffins. But then they're done, right? And they're these young adults, and there's really no structural support. So UNC Greensboro has grabbed and left a hold of this community and are teaching them independence while they have that college experience. And I just think that's fantastic.
I'm not specifically familiar with that particular program, but I think that it's a accurate statement to make that each of the institutions have special things that they do with individual groups, and they pay a lot of attention of trying to get people properly educated and out into the real world.
So, and then someone also, yes, exactly. I'm going to highlight another one that I know that you do have some familiarity with. Elizabeth City State University. They have done the most amazing thing. They have known that there is an aeronautics, there is a hole in education for kids that need to become a pilot or also who just want to become a mechanic or air traffic controller. So they just got this niche that they have figured out that they could fill in North Carolina University system. And, Senator Daniels' own daughter graduated from that program, and I am continuing to lure them because I want them to come to the city of Statesville to do the same thing in conjunction with maybe Mitchell Community College. But what a great out-of-the-box thought for that university who had struggled beforehand with enrollment. Now they figured out this niche, and their graduates are just getting a quality education for a lot less price than it would be if they had to go to Florida. And they're producing amazing pilots, air traffic controllers, and mechanics.
The program's amazing. That you have to give a lot of credit on that to Dr. Kerry Dixon, who moved out there as the chancellor a number of years ago and has just recently been named the chancellor at North Carolina Central University in Durham. But she took that program and ran with it and just exploded it. I know when I've been out there, you have simulators that you can get in and try to figure out how to fly, and it's not easy, but it is an amazing program, particularly being in the northeastern part of the state. Elizabeth City is a key economic driver in that area, and they have been able to pull in a number of the major airlines to support that and provide support in whatever fashion. You get a lot of people coming in out of the military, being as close as they are to the Norfolk naval bases up there. And then my understanding, I don't know the extent of this, but they have now branched out to where they're trying to put some sort of local classes together in various regional airports around the state so that students can get the hands-on training locally, and then perhaps do the academic part and the book part of this education virtually, or not having to be in Elizabeth City all the time. So it's really something, and a big example of all the things that are going on in North Carolina about trying to align education and workforce and make sure that the state has a properly educated workforce going forward.
Yeah, so when that budget appropriation came in over through the Senate transportation budget, I was all on top of it. But I saw that their priorities, Governor, I'm just going to tell you, I saw that their priorities, Statesville was on them, but not where I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be at the top. So, you know, just if you're out there in the universe, I'm just going to put it out there. You know, maybe we'll get some love in the House when the transportation budget comes through if Statesville's at the top of the list.
Yes.
That would be nice. I think there's some, have to have some airplanes here in order to have that part of the base here in Statesville. I think that, from what I understand, that has been one of the challenges of coming up with the funding for those airplanes.
Well, it can't. Yeah. I know somebody. You may know somebody that could help somebody. Yeah. I can't make any promises. Right. We will not get into the reason why we don't have that funding right now, because that may be a budget issue that we can't even do. And we're right up on a break. You know, we don't want to make sure. But I am excited about after the break, a few things we're going to talk about. I want to go back in time, because, you know, I love some history. Well, you don't know. Billy knows I love history, and I get a little wonky about it. But I have two, Statesville area OGs in the house today. One with Billy Buck Blevins. Oh, no. And Governor John Fraley, who also is a local. But I want to get into some of your history growing up here. I also want to get your perspective as someone who's traveled the world internationally and and focused on textiles and trade from New York City, and how that all works around going through that. And then lastly, I do really want to talk about your time in the House of Representatives and how much you miss me being up there. So I know you do. I know you do.
That's a broad list of things to talk about.
We just want all we want is the juicy parts. So we just want the juicy parts. Well, thank you for listening to We're Just Saying, here with Senator Vickie Sawyer, Representative Governor Esquire John Fraley to my left, and Billy Buck with us. Thank you for listening. We'll be right back after the break.
Kids across America are going to school hungry. Millions of kids every day. But one simple thing can help change all of this for a hungry child in America. Good, healthy food and the energy it brings. With help from caring people across America, No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. To learn more about ending child hunger in America, go to helpnokidhungry.org today.
We all want more for North Carolina. More boundless views, more adventures in the outdoors, and more clean roads to get there. But to get more, we have to do less. Less littering, that is. Make it your nature to trash your trash and keep NC clean. And we'll all have more reasons to love North Carolina. Litter less, get more. For more on the 7 outdoor NC Leave No Trace principles, visit OutdoorNC.com. Sponsored by the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters and Visit North Carolina, a part of the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina in cooperation with this station.
We all play a role in keeping our community safe.
Every day, we move in and out of each other's busy lives.
It's easy to take for granted all the little moments that make up our everyday.
Some are good, for others not so much.
But that's life.
It's when something doesn't seem quite right that it's time to pay attention.
Because only you know what's not supposed to be in your everyday.
So protect your everyday.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Bravo, Brenda. You've always been a saver. Price matching your price matches. The self-proclaimed queen of extreme couponing. But this time, you truly outdone yourself by saving for this electric vehicle. you're locking in up to $1,000 a year in fuel and maintenance savings, which will leave you saying, cha-ching, every time you unplug. Good for your wallet, great for the planet. That's the power of EV. Sponsored by the ANC Clean Energy Technology Center and the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters in cooperation with the station.
Welcome back to We're Just Saying. I am lucky to be here with two OGs from the Statesville area, which is hard to find somewhat, but I do have Representative John Fraley, Governor John Fraley. I keep on saying Esquire John Fraley, but let's talk about young man John Fraley.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's talk about this because you grew up in the Statesville area and you were telling a great story about your family and that they, had a first ever supermarket.
Well, my family, when we look at family tree, actually goes back quite some time. I know at least into the sort of mid 1800s, living in Iredell County, primarily around Turnersburg and that area, and then ultimately coming to Statesville. They were merchants and ultimately opened up a grocery store in Statesville called Fraley's Food Fair. Mm-hmm. There was also on North Center Street a cafeteria at one point. That was sort of across the street from where Montgomery Lazenby Hardware used to be. But ended up had a store there and then moved down to Front Street, and then also had another store up on the Salisbury Road, sort of, I think, where Black Pontiac is now. Okay. But when the store was open on Front Street, I've read that it was the first supermarket in the state of North Carolina.
How about that?
That was actually
fancy.
The grocery store was started with my grandfather and his brother. So my grandfather's name was also John, and his brother was Gene. But John passed away at an early age, and Gene was really the driving force behind Fraley's Food Fair. And when my father came back from World War II, being in the Navy in the North Atlantic and D-Day and some of those things, he went into the grocery store business with Gene for a few years and then ultimately sold out his part of the business to Gene, and he went to work for Sherrill Lumber Company.
Oh, my.
And was there for a number of years and then ultimately went to work for Coca-Cola Consolidated on the vending end of that business.
So when you were growing up, you said you didn't work in the store, but you made your father work a little bit harder because you would swipe some candy.
We would go in and think we were being real sneaky about getting some candy off the counter, but, basically just taking it out of your own pocket.
And graduate of Statesville High School then?
Yes, I finished Statesville High School here in 1969. We had a wonderful class of people that still remain very close. We've actually had a high school reunion every 10 years, and we've actually have started doing it every 5 years as people have gotten older, and we get a good crowd.
Yeah,
it's very, very fun. But so I finished school here, and then had the opportunity to go to school in Chapel Hill and majored in business. And it's interesting how things just sort of fall in line from there. That it started out down there. I wanted to pledge a fraternity, and one that a number of people from Statesville had been in. I wanted to be in, but got blackballed.
Oh, no.
Didn't make that, but ended up around the corner in another fraternity, and turns out that one of the guys there, who was from Fayetteville, had gone to work for Cannon Mills in New York a year or two before I graduated. And he said, "John, when you're interviewing for a job, you ought to interview with the Cannon Mills about coming to New York." And I did, and ultimately ended up in New York, which a lot of people said, "John Fraley going to New York," the way I speak. And, but I remember my parents, they wanted you to make your own decisions. And I walked round and round the kitchen for a lot one morning and finally decided, John, if you don't go to New York, you'll always wonder what if.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so I moved to New York in 1973, ended up being there for 5 years. I met my wife, who's also from Statesville, there the day after the blackout in 1977. And it's a long story of how we ended up having our first date. But once we had the first date, that was it. I was done. And, we've now been married 47 years.
Wow.
And, we moved from New York and then Southern California for 5 years.
Oh, my.
And then back in New York for 25 years before moving back here to the lake right at the tail end of 2008. But you look at all of those things, and while we were in New York, a woman that my wife worked with had this idea about trying to educate nomadic children in Kenya. And it's Samburu, which is an offshoot of Maasai. And we got involved in that with some other friends. Started out with about 130 kids and have ended up with over 1,500 from kindergarten through college. And that really sort of sparked my interest in education, which then is what prompted me to be involved in education in the legislature and now with the Board of Governors and also with another group I'm involved with, My Future NC. So you look back over the years of how things sort of fall into place just by luck.
It's because I don't know if you are, but you need Presbyterian. See, we're there. We know what's coming up. Frozen chosen.
I do say that sometimes. Frozen chosen. I'm sorry. That's a good Methodist.
Yeah, well,
he will talk to you in the liquor store. But no.
I was going to ask. I'm sorry.
No, please do.
What business were you in? What was your?
Well, Cannon Mills, of course, made towels and sheets.
Well, yeah,
blankets and that kind of stuff, and the manufacturing was in the South, but sales and marketing at that time was headquartered in New York, and you had offices around the country. So you started out in the training program for about a year in New York, and then you get assigned to your first sales territory. Mine happened to be in Connecticut, Western Massachusetts. And so I did that for a few years and then moved back into the main office in New York City before being transferred to Los Angeles.
So they, when you say you're in sales and representative, you're going to the big stores, you're going to the Macy's and the JCPenney's and
right
to buy all of our cat towels for the whole country.
Well, at that point, when you start out in your first sales territory, you're getting people more like G. Fox and Company in Hartford or Albert Steiger in Springfield, Massachusetts or something. But it was also you sold everything. So you went to the retail stores, but you also went to the hospitality trade, distributors that sold just white goods to hospitals and hotels and that type thing. So it was a broad experience. Now, as you progressed further in your career, you would become a little more specialized. That obviously, if you were back in New York and your accounts were Macy's or Bloomingdale's or Abraham and Strauss or something, you
right
had a whole lot more volume and responsibility. Same thing, relative to Walmart. I really chuckle when shortly after Walmart was getting started. At the time, most of the management people in New York with Canon were Ivy League folks. And so they finally decided they needed to fly down to Bentonville and see if we could sell some goods directly to Walmart as opposed to through a distributor. And they came back laughing, said, this guy that we worked with down there, he had a Pontiac Trans Am, with the big eagle decal on the hood. And I'm listening to them, and they're laughing, said, oh, yeah. I said, I'm sorry, folks, but this old boy took you for everything you've got, and you don't even know it yet. About a week later, one of the guys said to me, John, you were right. You look back over your career, and you can always come up with some interesting and funny things.
So he was tired of being this juggernaut in New York, and you and your lovely wife Adelaide come back to your home here in Iredell County, family home, I guess, in Iredell County. And then you didn't know what to do with yourself, or you just decided that you wanted to run for this thing called the North Carolina House? I mean, I can imagine what the world.
It's interesting that we were having one of those life discussions after dinner one night, and I said, I'm going to retire. This is 2013, that I'm just tired of going to India and China and Europe all the time. And said, I'm going to stop at the end of this year. And Adelaide said, well, or just right off the bat, I think you should run for public office.
Oh. Ooh.
I said, I think you've lost your mind. But ultimately, ended up asking a number of friends, people that were in office or had been in office, and they encouraged me to do so. I would tell you the first thought that I had was to run for the U.S. Congress, and I realized in about 24 hours that was really, really naive, from having never been involved in any political stuff before. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to run for the North Carolina House. I hired someone to run a poll in the area to see if he'd have a chance of winning. Being new basically to the Mooresville and South Iredell area, which is where District 95 is, and also having not lived here for 35 years, if you had a chance. And so I said, look, if polls show it might be able to win, then we'll go forward. If not, then I'll write you a check for the poll and we'll move on, figure out something else to do. And poll came back and said it's about a 14-point swing that had an opportunity. So we went to work and knocked on doors. We were talking about that earlier today, and just went at it and ended up winning by 105 votes.
Wow.
And but we worked really, really hard and did a lot of things to try to get elected. And I'd have to tell you that 6 years spent in Raleigh obviously has some frustrations and things from time to time, but I would not give anything for the experience, starting to understand sort of how the sausage is made, and being able to represent people in southern Iredell County. Then also at the time being able to work very closely with Rena Turner, who was the representative in northern Iredell. And then when Vickie came, really had a great team. And then Jeff McNeely came. And
things got colorful when he came.
Yeah, well, after Jeff came, I said, I probably need to move on here. No, I'm kidding. He was, Jeff's doing a good job.
So for both of you, because I watched one time, I don't know why, it just caught my eye. Patrick McHenry ran for 10th District Congress, United States Congress. And I just recall him coming out like a fireball. Boy, he was, banging, and then the next session came through. He wasn't quite banging quite as loud. So I'm just curious, with both of you, you're talking about your first time in, or you just like, wondering like, what did I get myself into? Or did you like throw yourself into it and become a firebrand? Both of you can answer that one.
My temperament is more, let's sit and listen, try to learn a little bit. But Linda Johnson from Kannapolis, who is a longtime representative and gave me the opportunity to be involved in education in the House, she said, John, you've really got to be here about 8 or 10 years before you really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I thought, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But the longer you're there, the more you realize that you can learn the process. But until you understand the relationships, how money is appropriated, how bills get done, who's behind the bills, who the personal associations are, and that kind of stuff, you really don't really get it.
Correct.
And it takes a while. So, that being said, someone may also say that, well, we have people that stay in office too long. And I happen to think that that's true, that there should be some sort of limits to it at some point, but it can't just be 2 or 4 years. And it just takes longer to understand what's really important. You have to travel extensively around the state to listen to people and understand and listen to other people's point of view. I ran as a Republican, obviously in this area, but the speaker referred to me and 2 of my friends as his 3 favorite Democrats in the Republican caucus, which I actually appreciated. I enjoyed that because I was a testament to the fact that I have tried to listen to what everybody had to say and then make up your mind on how you think you ought to vote or what you should stand for and support.
So is that the way you were? I mean,
no, I did it opposite. I did everything wrong. I did it wrong. First thing, coming in firebrand.
Did you really?
Oh, 100%. Oh, yeah. Headstrong. Yeah.
Boom.
Dumb.
I know what I want, and I want it now.
No, I knew what I wanted.
Oh.
Remember, I was the anti-establishment candidate.
Yes.
So when I got there, I believed in the team of me and forgot about the power of we. And over time, I have learned in the power of we and have moved forward. And, to that point, I think for those of us who are listening to this conversation, however you go about it, it takes all kinds of ingredients to make a good soup. And I think what you're seeing with John and I is 2 people who represent our district. And what John was saying before about a favorite Democrat, well, if you're in the town of Mooresville, a lot of the votes that John had to take really represented his people in Mooresville. You know, you were stuck with the bathroom bill at the very beginning. He was right in the middle of that controversy. I think that was some things that he had. We had some other controversial things that go on, but it does take all types of personalities to do that. And John is definitely a workhorse, not a show horse. And I think that's what your district did. And you did a really good job of representing him that way.
Well, thank you very much. But I'd also say the people that have been involved since then and before really have done a pretty good job of representing Iredell County. And I think it's a testament to the job that Vickie's doing and Jeff's doing that they've been reelected a few times. And
I got 10 minutes. I don't know. 10 minutes until filing's over.
And actually reelected with pretty strong margin of victory. Yeah. So, folks, you're very lucky to have great representation from Vickie and Todd and Jeff, and Mitchell Setzer has a little bit.
Yes, he does.
Area too.
He does. And, you know, I'm going to say to your point, Senator Tillis just recently ran a master class at the federal level of how to get contentious legislation passed. And I hope you can go out and look on Twitter. There's a Politico article or someone else that actually went through what Senator Tillis did, brought along Senator Budd, and this is all about the Lumbee recognition. I mean, even within our own state, you know, we had Cherokees who were denying the, you know, regardless, it's pretty contentious, nasty fight that's been going on for over 100 years, right? It's whether they should be recognized or not. And this week they did. So when you go through and you look at what Senator Tillis did for the first time in history to get this Lumbee Nation recognized at a federal level, it was a master class in how you get stuff done. And Senator Tillis, I know, is a friend of yours, and you had been there. But, you know, you do need to have a Senator Tillis kind of approach to contentious legislation and getting it passed. And, gosh, he did it.
You know, one of the things they tell you is that you vote your conscience first, your constituents second, and your caucus third. And I think with
that's in the House, by the way, not the Senate. Sorry, okay. That's not what they say in the Senate. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
But I think that's a pretty good standard to try to live by. I feel like I observed that with Tom when he was the Speaker of the House. And I really think when you look at your elected officials that as long as you've got somebody who is willing to listen to both sides and try to reason things out and then make a decision and ultimately try to move forward, maybe it's just a little bit, and then you move forward a little bit more later, that you can't ask for a whole lot more than that. This idea of you either have to do it my way, or if you don't believe what I do, you're wrong, is not productive in my opinion.
Well, I agree with you. It is not productive for the long run. In the short run, it gets all the sheep and, you know, into the same herd. But I will say something. We only have 5 minutes left until filing is over. But you also only have 5 minutes left until the show is over. I want you to brag on something that you have been at the very beginning of and we have not spoken about yet, and that is My Future NC. And the progress you guys have made, and let folks know what it is, because it's a very important thing that you've been doing, and we want to brag on your work for a little bit and the work of the whole entire committee.
Well, thank you. My Future NC is sort of the statewide version of what's going on in Iredell County called Iredell Ready, which Jen Bozer heads up with education leaders and business people and elected here, and they're doing an amazing job. But a number of years ago, there was a commission started, which I participated in as a member of the House, trying to set an education attainment goal for the state of North Carolina of what you had to have in an educated workforce to meet workforce needs. And through that process, we came up with a goal of 2 million people between the ages of 25 and 44 having to have a credential of high value or a 4-year degree by 2030 in order to meet the projected workforce needs. When we started out on this work, the projection, if it's stayed at the same level of attainment, we would have been 400,000 short of that 2 million number by 2030.
Wow.
As of last year, we've been able to work that down to 55,000 people. So
Amazing.
That's a big deal, but it's really a collaboration between the business people, elected people, philanthropic community, the ed sectors, the university or higher ed groups within the state, whether it be community college, UNC system, independent colleges, universities, plus K-12 public ed, to see them all on the same page, working with each other, to try to advance this, to make it easier to get to school, to make it easier to transfer from community college to the university. All of those things are wrapped around this. The 2 million by 2030 goal is codified into law. So it is something that was announced by President Pro Tem Berger, Speaker Moore, and the governor. So we're out there working on this, and I could not be more proud to be the board chair of this group.
Good. And thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
And guys, if that was education speak when he said high credential value, what that means is go get your plumber's license.
That's right.
If you don't know what you want to do, go get your contractor's license, your real estate license. Go learn a trade that if you're over 25 and you're still possibly, Starbucks isn't your dream job for the rest of your life, not a bad place to work, but you don't want to be, a barista when you're 55 years old, then this group is making sure that you can go to and get a high-credentialed, what'd you call it, high-credentialed?
Credential of high value.
That's it, high-value credential. Yeah.
And even as adult learners, there is so much being done in the state right now to enable people to rethink their career goals and try to get some degree of education and attainment while you're having to deal with being a mother or father.
Yeah.
Which is hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right.
Just the mother or father part, I keep on looking for the return policy some days, and I don't know what to do with that. I'm just kidding. Well, John Fraley, thank you so much. You did an amazing. I cannot believe the hour went by that quickly. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so pleased to have been asked. Thank you, Vickie. Thank you, Billy. Hope David Coble gets better here before long.
Prayers for his wife.
Nice guy. And but thank you, and a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone, and to great adventures in 2026.
Well said. Thank you so much for listening to We're Just Saying. Appreciative of you. We will see you after the new year, and maybe we'll have a new David.
I certainly hope so.
Well, the same old David, just 2 new knees.
That's right.
Yeah.
The $6 million man.
Yes. Thank you. Well, thank you all for listening to We're Just Saying. Happy holidays.
550 AM WAME, 92.9 W225.